right, and we are back with the one and only Bob. Already on page 52, and right now Bob is nice and cozy in his new home with his new owners, and I believe that's kind of where we left off. So, okay, Spoiled is the name of this chapter. So, I know Nutwit has a point. I've become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being my own dog. For a long time, I was Bob the Beast, cunning and streetwise. As a stray, I lived off leftovers at the mall, while Snickers dined on her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I loved the cotton candy stuck to the floor. The unexpected UFOs. The ends of ketchup-covered hot dogs scattered under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple. But I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so maybe every now and then I could sneak a banana chunk from Ivan's breakfast. But then things changed. I became civilized, a domestic, a pet. So there he is. He's all cozy in front of a little fireplace. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on a food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind where you can bed boogie forever till it's squished to perfection and you can curl up just so. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Knot Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, when I got my blanket and Knot Tag imprinted with the right amount of Ode to Bob, Julia's mom does the unthinkable. Puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. There are other indignities I tolerate. The daily walk on the tug-of-war string after going stringless my whole life. The attempts to train me, like that'll ever happen. The kisses and cuddling. Well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. The kissing I don't get. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just give him a big old lick on the face and be done with it? Anyways, so what if I've gotten a little spoiled? A tad soft around the edges. There's a difference between being soft and being afraid and being a coward. Another confession. Too bad I know the truth. I'm both. So I think he's talking about that he's soft, afraid, and then maybe a little bit of a coward. So he's kind of ratting himself out a little bit. Cricket bully. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a good old Bob-style hello. Lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looked at me sternly and says, "Robert, down." I leap some more because I'm determined to convince her I am incorrigible, untrainable. It's part of my charm, my bobbliness. "Down," she says from her coat pocket. And she pulls out a little metal clicker along with some treats. I hate that clicker. It's meant to help train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right, Julia clicks, gives me a treat. The clicks tell me when I'm behaving, and the treats reinforce it. If that happens enough, before your very eyes, I'm supposed to transform into a good dog. Well, that ain't easy. "Down, Bob," Julia tries again. I want a treat, but not enough to cave. So I opt for a playbow, a compromise. Julia sighs. You are definitely a challenging student. To my annoyance, she puts the treats back in her pocket. I think Julia might be on to me. All right, trust. A while ago, Julia got into her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went into dog training class. I wasn't really into the whole sit and stay and do the tango stuff. The worst command of all, the truly inexcusable, only a human could come up with it order. Leave it. Leave it means walk on by, Bob. Sure, there's a piece of bacon just inches from your drooling pie hole, but do me a favor and just pretend it's not there, okay? Not okay. Where I come from, you never pass up a free meal. UFO drops on the carpet, it's mine. And I'll be chewing it down before you can say, "Where is my meatball?" Within minutes, I was accused of being an unmotivated student, which is totally unfair. I'm highly motivated. Just show me some cheese, please. Anyway, I may or may not have been a little unruly. Class clown stuff, tail spinning, a little random. Some zoomies just for show. Class, you see the crazy dashing around he's doing, said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. We call it a frap, frantic random activity, period. She pulled Julia aside. He's a smart dog, she said, but he's messing with you. Which is true, but I hated getting caught in the act. I thought I was more subtle. Bob needs to know who's boss, said the teacher. He needs to see you as a pack leader. Give him some time. I see this a lot with former strays. It takes them a while to trust people. Like forever in my case. As we left the class early, I yelled, "So long, suckers," to my classmates. I couldn't help rubbing it in just a little. My car thing. I suppose the real reason for training stuff isn't my bad manners, although they leave a bit to be desired. It's my car thing. I've always had a hang up about cars and trucks. Also riding lawnmowers, go-karts, anything with 4 wheels, an engine, and a driver. Don't like them? Don't want to ride in them. I don't want anything to do with them. Those co-pilot dogs with their heads hanging out the window, flying their drool flags, boneheads. First of all, it ain't safe. Second of all, bad stuff can happen after you climb into a car. Take it from me. When Julia and George and Sarah realized I had transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. You would be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelled so loud the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to a poor little doggy. Score 1 for the poor little doggy. Click. That's when they started clicker training me. Click, here's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Watch while I open the car door, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come right up to the seat, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come on in, Bob. Bob? Where are you, Bob? Yeah, it was a lot like that. Options. Oops, I skipped a page. No. Options. Still haven't been in a car or a truck or a tractor for that matter. When I have to go to the rhymes with pet threat, Julia and her parents walk me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. Full wag. All right. Are you ready to head over to the park? George asks as he passes through the living room. He's carrying 2 flashlights and a roll of masking tape. Yep, says Julia, and I do a head tilt and show I am intrigued by the conversation. The place where Ivan and Ruby live is called the Wild World Zoological Park and Sanctuary, but everyone just calls it the park. George works at the park as the head groundskeeper, which means I've got some sway, and everyone who's employed there loves Julia. Give me a minute, I just need to grab my coat, says George. Straight home after, though, Julia, says Sarah, just in case the weather gets worse. One minute the weatherman's saying we're gonna have a little shower. Next minute it's a storm of the century. Julia scratches my head. I thought Hurricane Gus wasn't coming till tomorrow. Sometimes they change course, said Sarah. They can be unpredictable. You know, George says with a wink, in the old days, they only name hurricanes after women. Oh, in the old days, they only named hurricanes after women. Julia groans. It's not just the wind that I'm worried about on this one, George says. It's the storm surge that could be a problem. Lots of flooding. Julia tries to make me wear her mom's latest creation, a knitted dog sweater with security written on it, which I suppose is an ironic reference to my small size. I politely decline. All right, you win, Julia sighs. Ready for your walk, Bob? At the mention of the word walk, I go all crazy mutt, so it's clear I'm on board with the idea. Humans love it when we get silly. I think they're so weighed down by people problems that sometimes they need to be reminded of what happy looks like. Julia attaches my string. I try for a little tug of war, but she refuses to buy it. Let's go see Ivan and Ruby, she says. Just hearing those names sends my tail into a full wag. All right, this will be our last little chapter here. So good words and bad words. Uh-oh. I never met a dog who didn't get a big old grin on his kisser when walk slipped into a conversation. Dogs understand more than you might think. The Nature Channel says we're about as as smart as the average human toddler. 2-year-olds, my fuzzy rump, were a million times brainier than some babbling rugrat. There was a dog on that man's best friend show who supposedly understood like 1,000 human words. A border collie, I think. Those guys need to switch to decaf. The narrator was gushing about this wonder dog, and I'm like, well, duh, Brainiac, of course we understand people. Not everything, mind you, and some of us are more attentive than others. Depends a lot on how interesting you humans have to be. Certainly, words will really cause our ears to perk up. The classics: treat, walk, frisbee, and bacon. And don't forget the bad words: vet, bath, fireworks, and vacuum cleaner. We always hear those. All right, and that's where we'll stop for today.